Greetings, everyone. It is Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. Thank you so much for joining. Let me make sure everything is good on my, Let me make sure everything is good on my end. Let's see here. Bam, bam, bam. We are good to go. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Once again, it's Dynasty Mirror Search for Uhuru. Before we get started, guys, make sure you go to dynastymirror.com. Again, make sure you go to dynastymirror.com. While you're there, go buy. This was my first children's book. The Sun Loves Me. Okay, so make sure for your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, even some of you adults need to read this children's book. Again, some of you adults need to read this children's book. So make sure you go to dynastymirror.com and buy a copy. Also, grab a shirt while you're there. Grab some merchandise. Make sure you join the email list as well. Please join the email list so you guys can stay up to date in regards to what's going on with Dynasty Mirror, the brand. Like, share, and subscribe to the content as well. Again, like, share, and subscribe to the content as well. And become a monthly Patreon. Patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Again, patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Become a monthly Patreon, everybody. And as you come into the chat room, hit that like button. Again, guys, hit that like button, everyone, and make sure you share, you subscribe. Again, hit that like button, or Kala is definitely going to sing the song tonight. If you don't hit that like button, he is going to serenade you. You know, Kala used to sing for the Whispers.
Yeah.
He used to sing for the OJs.
Yeah. Temptation.
and the Whispers. College.
Merry Christmas to all of you. Yeah, one got the voice, the baritone.
Hey, Collie, yeah, hold on. Let me make sure that's okay. Hold on, let me turn this up. So, you even sounded kind of low lately, Colin. So I just want to make sure we can hear you.
Right.
So, guys, today's topic. Oh, also tour. Um, Sierra Leone, August 21st to the 30th. Again, Sierra Leone, August 21st to the 30th. Come and join us for a great time. Again, Sierra Leone, August 21st through the 30th. Everybody, come and join us. We're going to have an awesome time, everybody. August 21st to the 30th, Sierra Leone. Go to searchforuhuru.com or email me at searchforuhuru.com for more details. And without further ado, we have a special guest on with us, rising up with us on a Tuesday night. You remember that, Scott? Remember that song a couple years ago? I'm in the club going up on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
We go.
That's nice in the club. There's not that many people there.
Yeah, so we going up on a Tuesday, everybody. In fact, let me throw on my other speaker, Kala Thanos. For people who don't know you, Kala, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm a college Genesis, right? One of the founders of the Black African Infrastructure Organization, head of the colonization movement since 2006. Well, actually, since 1993. And I reinvented it in 2006 as a blog. I got online. It should be a study group in the 90s here in Norfolk and the Norfolk area. And then in 2006, when I discovered social media, I didn't know anything about it. And I discovered blogs. And I said, you got to be kidding me. I could reach multiple people and I could talk to people, communicate with people and everything. I said, because I had planned, usually I said, look, one day I'm going to get a lot of money and I'm going to go from city to city, gather names, books and everything, and I'm going to put together a movement, right? Then when social media came along, I said, wow, I could be in one place and I'm communicating and organizing people all across the world. So that's what got the idea of me get involved with social media. It was in 2006, been 14 years now. And when I first came on the social media, everybody rejected me. There was nobody talking consciousness. There was nobody talking about Africa. There was nobody talking about anything. The only thing that was on social media was gangster this, thug this, and all this stuff like that. And nobody wanted to hear this. Everybody told out of date. They said, "Get away from us with that black supremacy stuff." We're all gonna. This is a hip hop nation now. That stuff faded out. Nobody wants to identify with being black. That's what I was told. And so I stuck to my guns and everything, and I started commentating on different things. I said back then, I said, I said the number one thing affecting Black people in America is lack of knowledge and self-hate, right? And I said, and I still believe that to this day. Self-hate is the number one thing, reason why we can't, let's fight, having all the, you can put all the money in front of Black people, you can put all the education, you have all these organizations, we have a billion 501c3s, we got all these symposiums and meetups and conferences and everything, and Negroes still aren't making any progress. Why is that? Fundamentally, we don't know our history. We don't know who we are. And then when we find out who we are, we reject who we are, right? So I said only a collar nation is going to survive. What does a collar mean? Collar means family, means bond, it means unity, it means oneness, you know. And so basically, it comes from West Africa, West African history of clans and tribes and stuff like that. I said if you could basically build those sort of family bonds and community bonds based on a shared experience and shared heritage, you have some sort of legitimacy. And I said we have a shared history. We are the one strength we have is our history, right? You can't take that from us, right? A white person can't come and say, "Well, I'm going to be Black." I'm just as Black as you are because I grew up in the hood. No, you're not Black. Your ancestors came from Europe. My ancestors were African slaves, right? And so I'm not going to forget that. And then I proved over the years that, despite what everybody think, that, and when we said they told me we now live in a hip hop nation, music, white people and Black people coming together. And when they had the vote or die movement in 2004, we found that the white people, although they listen to hip hop, although they like these rappers, they like their favorite sports stars were Black and everything. When it came down to voting and who they politics are, they usually put their race first. And so I said, look, there's nothing wrong with Black people being Black first, not Democrat first, not Republican first, not Christian first. They are Black first. You know, you're Black, your race and who you are is your experience. We were enslaved because of our race. We weren't enslaved because we were Christians. We weren't enslaved because we were Hebrews. We weren't enslaved and discriminated against because we were Moors. We weren't enslaved and discriminated. All that stuff like that is not going to save you. The only thing that you have to know is that you live in a world where you are judged by your color, your race, and what your genetic, your phenotype is. Your phenotype is your base identity, and you can't get away from that. You can't say, "Well, I'm spiritually something else. I look on a higher level." It doesn't matter. The African that was on the slave ship, I'm sure our ancestors thought there was something better on the slave ship. It didn't matter. When those chains were put on your ancestors' legs, right? They knew one thing, right? There's this old saying, African saying, "Men chained together are brothers," right? So the African American and the African diaspora is unique in this regard that the identifying factor is among Black people in the diaspora is race. Let me tell you something. We're gonna talk about Liberia. I'm gonna talk about this ADOS, this FBA stuff. Matter of fact,
Go
I got a guy that's on Facebook. He's sitting there, "Oh, you call it, I'll dare you and Dynast go on an FBA platform." But what the hell am I going on these clowns for? It's the FBA. I said, look, let me tell you something, right? All these people who want to start tensions between African Americans and Caribbeans and everything, the race, what was unique about everything, every time when you have total defeat, there's always certain strengths that come out of it, right? The strength of the Black people in America, and it's different from Africa, is that in America, your Blackness trumps everything. It trumps whether you were born in the islands, it trumps whether you were born in Canada, it trumps whether you were born anything. That's the way the Black people, African Americans, and the real African diasporans think. If I see a brother, I don't say, well, he's from Haiti or he's from the Barbados, he's not one of us. If you believe like that, you are a traitor. You are a race traitor. You are a race traitor. If you want to segregate yourself from another portion of the race, you are a race traitor. I can't have nothing to do with you. I won't play games with this ADOS stuff anymore, this FBA stuff anymore, because all it is an attempt for Black people to get out of being Black, and cause discourse among us where it's not necessary. I was taught Blackness by my Caribbean brothers and sisters. They were more conscious of being Black than I was. They were basically like, "Yo, you're Black people. We're Black people. We're Black people." You go into a Jamaican shop, well, brother, sister, my brother. So they learned that in the islands. And basically, a lot of black people in America didn't know where to. So we learned that from them in places like Harlem and these places where we have large Caribbean and population among our people. The Caribbean community has always contributed to Black America, and they're part of Black America. So this idea, and this we're going to talk about Liberia, what went wrong in Liberia, what went right, and Liberia was built on that idea of race first. Before you are a crew, before you are a bossa, before you are this. And then, what the problem is in Liberia was that Liberians didn't have a social, they didn't have a reason to do that, right? Because they don't have the experience. But the African diaspora mind, the descendants of the mind for the slave trade, right? We have that mind that no matter what your social status is, when you're black in the white man's world, you're black, you're one. Men chained together are brothers. Now, if you basically are saying, you calling yourself FBA or ADOS, what you're saying is those chains in America don't exist. That slavery you're dismissive of slavery because all the black people brought to the New World came in chains, right? So therefore, we have a common bond and a common heritage and a common enemy, which is the white races. I'm not gonna say all white people. The white, I progress on that area. I don't consider all white people the enemy. I consider the people who are racist, and racists will reveal themselves all the time. They'll reveal themselves who they are, right? The people who basically try to pit black people in America versus Nigerians, right? Oh, look at these Nigerians doing so well. Those are enemies. People who try to pit black men versus black women. Oh, black women are doing this. They can't. Or when they give a whole ABC series to a black woman, talking about they got to explore the option. Look at these young women. They can't find husbands and everything, which is a lie. Who does that? Who does?
Right.
People who want to see us divided. Now, if you can't recognize when you're being divided and stuff like that, then you got a problem. We black men and black women have held it down together for 400 years in this country. So this is farce about black people being divided. We are the only group of people, to be honest with you, we were even united based on income level. You have rich black people and poor black people who attend the same church, attend the
Right.
same social clubs and everything. So social media is distorting the divisions among Black America, which historically we knew they were there, but we dealt with them as a people. And so that's what I believe in, right? So when people start talking all this FBA, ADOS, and all this stuff like that, you're not with me. And so therefore, when I talk about Liberia, right, I'll say, oh, you're gonna talk. No, I'd say both sides of the story. There was right on the Liberian side, and there was right and wrong on the Liberian side, and there was wrong on the indigenous side, and there was wrong on right and wrong on the indigenous side. But the thing is, there's people who don't want to see us have a victory. Liberia was a victory. How we was able to build and maintain a republic while European powers are carving up the world, and how this little country held its independence together and was a major player in world affairs for 200 years is amazing. The fact that we don't embrace that because we don't know that is because we have a problem with black people having ourselves having power or having any sort of authority. We only see ourselves from the prism of being oppressed. So we don't know what it's like to be in power and have power and basically do that. That's something that other people, we're only supposed to be on the receiving end of oppression, right? We don't know. Okay, well, it's just like here now. When you talk about black people who are police, black people who are the employer, right? Black people who are winning, right? They're no longer black. Well, it wasn't like that before. It wasn't like that before. Black people who are achieving, black people who are winning, black people who have authority, we don't respect them. Why? Because it means we assume that all people with authority, all people with power is supposed to be white. And so therefore we see any black person that holds up standards and holds up laws and uphold justice as acting white. So what this tells us is we're divorcing ourselves from the basic universal tenets of man. And this is where I think a lot of African Americans, I'm going to talk about something, right? And some people are going to get offended, right? When you go to the African continent, right? And I haven't been there yet, and I will be there soon, in all fairness, right? But when the comments I hear from a lot of people, right? And when they tell Africans, oh, don't bring the white man's system over there. Don't bring the white man. I'll say, well, Africans like, I kind of like pipe warm water. I think I would like to have a 24-hour day electricity. I would like to have education. I would like to have engineering. I would like to have all this. I would like to have refrigeration, right? And you have African Americans who are going over there, and the average African is just what appears becomes apparent. The Africans basically, when they see somebody in authority, police and everything, they respect them. You know, the black people in America, we simply don't respect authority because we believe that the ultimate authority came out of our oppression. So this is what you have right here in America right now. You have a lot of black people who basically say, defund the police, get rid of the police. Well, the bottom line is this: in a lot of Caribbean, I mean, monitor this very closely. You never hear African immigrants say that. Why? Because they're like, okay, we need police. Now, what is it about African Americans, right, who don't like authority, who don't like don't want to work in the system, don't want to do anything to achieve America, don't on the whole reject education, reject higher learning, all stuff like that. The Caribbeans are mopping our, cleaning our clock as far as academics. You know, when you see a lot of top HBCU graduates, go to any graduation, right? Go to Bronx Community College, right? I was there back in 2010, right? And I'm gonna tell you right now, the graduating class, most of the people of color there were from the islands, Caribbean, everything. Very few so-called African. My cousins were graduating there that day, right? And they went on to get their masters and everything. But I noticed that day, that was back in 2010, summer 2010, right? And I noticed that I said, look, I'm seeing the people who are just so excited about education and academics are people from, there was people from Ghana there, right? There was people from Kenya, listen to the conversations. Oh, I'm from Kenya. Yeah, I'm on this. You have people from the Dominican Republic. You have people from Puerto Rico. It was all people from Peru. You had people from South Africa, right? And I'm seeing very few what we call native-born African Americans getting excited about education. And then when you do see African Americans, it's mostly black females. And so therefore, I say, well, what's going on here? What's going on here is the fact that we have a culture, right? This is different from what's going on now. We have a culture that over the last 100 years have rejected education, have rejected all these things, right? It was completely different when Liberia was formed. Liberia was formed by the best, the most educated black people in the world at the time. Liberia had the laying the foundation for the Republic of Liberia with some of the best minds in the world. And you get your pen and paper out, right? Because I'm gonna name some of these names, and you're gonna do your homework. Hillary Teague, John Day, R. Ford McGill, Uranus McGill, Africanus McGill, Edward Wilmot Blyden, John Brown Westbourne, okay, the Dradens, all these. Let me see who else. E.J. Roy, the Spriving. All these men came from the United States, and the Barclays came from the Caribbean. These men were highly educated. There was nobody telling them to be niggas. These men believed in hard work. They believed in education. They built the first black colleges. You had Four-Way Bay College in Sierra Leone. Did you see that when you went to Sierra Leone?
Yeah, I went to Fort Bay.
Yeah. Edward Wilmot Blyden was a professor there. If you read my novel, Journey to the Promised Land, right? There's scenes. I had scenes. Edward Wilmot Blyden I brought to life. I made him a character, right? In the book by studying him, I made him a character in my novel. And he was at the time he was an associate professor at Four-Way Bay College during the 1876 time period. 1877, excuse me, 1878, when the Azores went there. So basically, at the time, you had a whole world ruled by black men. Joseph Jenkins Roberts, the founding father of the Republic, right? He took his money, right, and built a Monrovia, Liberia College, right? Education was on the top of the thing. The men who were educated ran the country. Men who achieved education ran the country. We didn't have the what we have now is the equivalent of rappers and entertainers speaking for us. We're the only group of people on the planet in the world where the entertainers and rappers and actors speak on the behalf of the masses of people. It was not like that in the 1820s. The people who spoke for Black people were educated for the most part. It didn't matter. You didn't have a sports contract and a press building you up. People who were educated, people who were hardworking, people, all those things. And they went to Liberia with the idea that they had the God-given right to build a republic on the ancestral land of their ancestors. And they did that. Now, I asked a question. How is it that they were able to do this in 1820? And in 2020, we can't get anything. We can't get, most African Americans are struggling to get anything, any projects completed on the ground in Africa. Why? Because one is we're not. I hate to say this, we're not sending the best and brightest to the continent in 2020 as we did in 1820. Why? Because the people who have the knowledge and education in America are comfortable in America. They're comfortable in America, right? And what happens is, well, the people who go to the continent, for the most part, not all, there are exceptions, all the people that basically are beaten. And so they're dealing with their own internal demons. And when they go over there, we don't know their ultimate intentions. And all we could do is sit back and wait and see how this all plays out. There are a lot of good people who go to Ghana who are doing well. There's a lot of African Americans who are doing well. But to the level of being able to build a republic on the continent, right, I think there's something lacking in the so-called repatriation movement of 2020 versus 1818. That's my opinion. And we'll talk about that further.
Guys, make sure you hit that like button again. Hit that like button. Also, again, tour. April 21st to the 30th, we will be in Sierra Leone. Again, April 21st to the 30th. Come and join us in Sierra Leone, everyone. And make sure you go to dynastamir.com. Again, please go to dynastamir.com. All right, go ahead, Kyle. And guys, we will open up the lines here in about 10 minutes. In about 10 minutes, we'll open up the lines. So if you want to call in and ask a question, you'll have that opportunity in about 10 minutes. And again, please hit that like button. All right, go ahead, Colin.
Right. And so therefore, what I want to talk about is people put News One put an article out talking about, and it angers me when I read this stuff, right? Because, and another thing is, I tell people all the time. I had a guy challenge me yesterday, and I just told him, look, I'm tired. I'm over trying to educate people. And I said, well, I said, look, I don't need to explain myself. What you need to do is go to the library, get yourself a library card, and start reading. And so there's so much misinformation about Liberia, African Americans, and African American history. We don't know our real history. We don't want to know our real history. We only know what's fed to us as a narrative. For example, to me, the most significant thing we've ever done in as far as like in the last 500 years was Liberia. To me, nothing else compares. And let's talk about the difference between the Liberian and the African American. There's a complete difference. When people call, Liberians African Americans, like, okay, yeah, we come from the same bloodline. But just like we changed once we came across the Atlantic, right? We have a new mind. There was also a Liberian mind that when they returned, right? They crossed over the Atlantic. When they crossed over the Atlantic, a new mind, right? And after a generation, a new mind was formed. They absorbed some of the things from the local people, the local culture and surroundings in Africa. And they also knew that it was a fight for life and death. They had to make decisions. Like, let me give you an example. When I listen to a lot of Black people now, right? They say we should abolish prisons, right? Only the degenerate African American mind agrees with that. We should get rid of police. Oh, police are bad. Let's be fun. Let's get rid of police altogether. How are you going to do a crime? Well, we'll have people. If people want to volunteer to go to court, they could. Remember when Nas made that song, "Imagine going to court with no trial"? in the Liberian mind, right? The difference is the ultimate responsibility of saving yourself and everything is on you. In America, we're in captivity. the ultimate responsibility for black people in America is the white man. You know, girl, your daughter gets pregnant. What do? You don't. It's not. This is not how we always were. You go to your local social services office. It used to be a time where if a girl got pregnant, when that's aunt or somebody, a grandparent would take that kid, adopt them, take them in. You know, we were self-sufficient like that. Now it's you go to social services and everything like that. The social service building is the husband. There's no family. There's no family structure, extended family and everything, taking care and raising kids. The person disciplining your child is not the father, right? Like that, it's the police. You know, it's the police. It's a truant officer. All the stuff like this. This is the difference. But when you look at Liberia, they built dynasties with their families. They built homesteads and they had lots of children. The kids went to school and they knew something about the world. They knew something about the world, their place in the world. They took pride in the fact that when a white man was in their midst, you're in our country now. We could tell you to get out. We could arrest you. We could put you in jail. And a white man, when I studied how white people acted when they was in Liberia, they acted real cordially, you know, respectfully. The same white man who would come to America and call a black man a nigger, you know, the same white man who would come in America would try to sneak off with a black girl and molest her, have his way with her in America, wouldn't dare. There was an incident, right, that happened in Liberia during World War II. I don't know if you read about this, Dinus, right? With some African American GIs who were stationed in Liberia, right? There were some white officers trying to talk to a very pretty Liberian girl, right? And one of the black soldiers went up to him and said, "No, you're not going to talk to her," right? And then he said, "Look, in my home state of Georgia, I even look at a white girl, I would get lynched." This is the 1940s, this is World War II. And so what happened was a fight ensued, and the black soldier killed a white officer in Liberia. I mean, you're not going to hear about this story because it's buried in history. He killed him, right? And then there was like a manhunt in Liberia, and some of the native Liberians was hiding him out. And then what happened was, I think the guy committed suicide. But he made the point that if you come over here, he goes, "I come to here, I didn't know about this place, but white people, when you come here, you are not going to date or touch our women." You know? And so therefore, that was the mindset of these people. Why? Because they said, "Look, this is our land. This is where we rule. This is our domain. This is our dominion." Right? And that little tiny country, right, where the white man had sway over the whole entire continent, right? He had his way with black women, Asian women, and all over the place. He was a king of the world. But there's one place on this earth where he didn't dare try to take advantage of black women. That was Liberia. Now, I want to ask a question to all the Liberia haters. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? There's people like, "Oh, well, I don't know, Colin, blah, 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 blah." I say, is that a good thing or a black thing? White people could not own land in Liberia. They didn't have a Lebanese problem, Chinese problem, a white problem, everything. White people could not own land, farms, and businesses in Liberia. That was in the Constitution. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? Where did that come from? That came from the framers of Liberia knew why, when you create a country, you have to create. You lived in a world that was engulfed by white supremacy, and so the only way you could protect yourself by building a republic that was meant only for black people. And the problem Liberia has now is that the indigenous people don't have that same mind that created Liberia, a sanctuary, a safe haven for a refuge for black people. But what people will say, "Well, you know, they did the indigenous people bad," and all stuff like that. You know, the indigenous people did us bad. You know, somebody says, "You're just talking, college." And so, yeah, look, if you guys don't like don't like what I say, you could easily call in.
Yeah, guys. So email me at uhuru@searchforuhuru.com. Again, I'll put the link in the chat room. uhuru@searchforuhuru.com. Email me and I will send you the link, and you can call in.
Some people would compare some people I've been told that no, the Nation of Islam was the greatest thing black people ever created. Not Liberia. You know, the
Why?
nation.
Why would somebody say that, Colin?
Yo, it's like this. They said, well, I said, okay, all right. The Nation of Islam's idea that we are a nation within a nation, whatever, you know. And so therefore the white man could put his hands on you. The white man could reach over in Liberia and do that to you. How? You had a country where the average person could walk around the day and not see a white person. You know, you had a country with sovereignty and laws that protected the people from foreign intervention. Everything. People were safe behind their borders. And there's an old thing that something that black man in America has never had in 400 years. Is this sense of what we call serenity. You know, and people say, well, what's serenity, Colin? Right? Serenity is not freedom from the thunder and storm and all that. It's peace and tranquility amidst the storm. Now, let me repeat that again. It's not freedom. In other words, you know the storm is out there, right? But it's a peace and tranquility amidst the storm. That means despite
Man,
all the stuff that's going around the world, the style of stuff that's going around you, right? You have a safe haven, a piece of thing. Why? Because you have a powerful government that is protecting you. That's something the black man, the mind of the black man in America has never experienced. And a lot of us want to go to Africa now to experience that sense of serenity. But instead of going there and finding that serenity, we're starting the same stupid nonsense that we're bringing over there. Instead of going there and saying, I'm going to set up shop, I'm going to get a business, I'm going to find a wife and do all these things, just live in peace. We want to be on YouTube. We want to be gossiping. We want to do all this kind of nonsense and everything. And we want to still talk about the same stupid stuff that we say that we're escaping from. The Liberians, when they went there, they left America behind. They started a new land, a new culture, a new way of life in their own land. And they left America behind. And there was this myth that Liberia is America's stepchild. Liberia had very little to do with America. The only countries, European countries that had an influence on Liberia, one was Germany, and two was the Netherlands, and three was Spain. Those three countries helped Liberia in this early phase. It wasn't the United States. That's another myth. And that's why people can't get it right. Oh, y'all was over there Americanized and everything. No. The Liberians created their own way of life, their own culture and everything, you know. And so therefore, that's why Liberia is. What's Chris Robinson? Is this the same Chris? This Chris Robinson. Call in, brother. Do I know you? You know. Well, say, well, why aren't African American like? Well, Liberia was destroyed. 1980 happened. 1980 happened. 1980 happened. The coup happened. The world. There was there's a documentary that was on 60 Minutes, 15-minute 60 Minutes, right? That came out in 1980, right? This documentary was done by 60 Minutes, right? And it was called Native Born or Native Son. And it was basically a hit piece on these so-called American Liberians, a group of people that never really existed. They made it seem like the American Liberians were this oligarchy of people ruling over a country, even though they built the country, right? And by any justification, look at America, the richest people in America were part of the founding of America. But the same credit does not go with the black man. So they say, oh, they rule as an oligarch over these indigenous people who are the rightful owners of this country. Liberia was founded by the people who came from America, you know? The people who came from America, right? And so therefore the Constitution, the Republic, the institutions, all this stuff like that was part of their, what we call their civilization, their concept of civilization, their creed, what they stood for, their foundation of civilization, and what Liberia was built on. And this is why the indigenous people can't get it right, you know? The Jesse Jackson lost over like because of these people wanted the biggest threat to Liberians were the so-called African Americans at the time. They were jealous, right? Okay, Sean Williams. Call in. You want to come on the line? You want to get educated? You don't know anything about Firestone. Firestone, you don't know anything. All you know is what you read on Wikipedia. This wiki misinformation, half knowledge and everything. I'll school you. Come on the line. So basically, people say they should have found a way to work with the natives. Look, we're going to talk about that too. They did. Every last single native tribe signed a treaty joining Liberia. Why? Because the Grebos, the seaside Grebos and the hinterland Grebos, got a taste of what the French life was like. The French had a guillotine in the Ivory Coast. When they saw some of their chiefs beheaded, right? They said, you know something? We want to be part of Liberia, the Black Republic in Monrovia. The only part of the territory that Liberia lost was the Galenas. Really lost land. Liberia used to be 3 times the size of what it was. The French took most of it, and what was left was the people like, the French were just so brutal and ruthless that these people said, look, we're going to side with the like in the Galena situation. Liberia kept its sovereignty because had the British had their way, Monrovia, Liberia's sovereignty would have been at Monrovia. They would have had the whole Cape Mount area. But the Vi tribe, right? The Vi tribe, right? They and the great families, clans, the Fambulas and the Massacoys, the 2 most powerful Vi tribes, right? They were the most educated, right? They saw what was coming on. They said, we want to be part of a Black Republic. And the Vi tribe from day one, you know what I'm saying? They oppressed the natives. This is the ignorant stuff I'm talking about, This is the stuff I'm talking about. They oppress the natives. These people have never read a book. They've never picked up a book. I got several books I could show you to read them. So if you get off the freaking YouTube channel and get off Wikipedia, you will learn something. They oppress the natives, as if the natives were just some poor people. Wait, this is another thing. These so-called African Americans. This is why we did this show tonight. The so-called African Americans, right? The reason why you're failing now, right, is because you in your heart are really the ones that are problem with Africa. The natives are not victims. Never was. So you go over to these countries, Gambia and everything like that, and you're getting in conflict with the so-called natives because you come in like, oh, I'm gonna help you. They don't need your help. They've been surviving for thousands of years in these areas. They don't need you coming back showing them how to do anything. They can go on YouTube and find out what you're doing on their own. The Vi tribe basically guaranteed Liberia's sovereignty. The Vi tribe was the most educated. They married in. Every last single tribe in Liberia married into the Americo-Liberian people. So this stuff there, and they signed treaties saying we want to be part of Monrovia because the French are going to take our territory. Once they signed treaty with Monrovia, their territories, and they governed the way they always have, and they got education. I don't live in Africa. I live in freaking the United States, but I pick up books. I don't have to live on Mars to know about Mars. I don't have to live on the moon to know there's a moon out there.
Guys, hit that like button again. If you want to call in, we're going to take 2 callers. If you want to call in, Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. Again, Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. The link is in my email's in the chat room. Send me an email and I will forward you a link. Again, send me an email and I will forward you the link. And again, hit that like button. Or go ahead.
And like I said, when people say this, what gets me is when people say this stuff, right? These are the so-called people. They got the Pan-Africanists, and these are the people that's fucking everything up right now. They go over there with this, and then what gets me is when they get ready to go over there, they're like, "Oh, I'm in trouble, man. I'm not getting along with the native people. Why? Because you're going over there with this idea that you're going to rescue them and you're going to save them. You don't give them the same respect. I'm going to build them. How are you going to go over there and pay somebody $5 a day, and call yourself doing something? Well, that's the going rate over there. So better that, a man doing hard work for you is worth more than $5 a day. If you can't pay somebody what you pay him in America, what the hell are you going over there for? What are you contributing? You're doing the same thing that you accuse the white man of, exploitation. If you got thousands of dollars to invest in a project on the continent, pay the people a fair wage, a living wage, where they can get ahead. all the nice talk and all that kind of stuff means absolutely nothing. And so, therefore, like I said, we look at this history of Liberia realistically, And I say all the time, I say if people knew the real history of Liberia, how the fact that the government of Liberia built schools, ended a lot of practices that was in the interior, like beheadings, cannibalism, virgin brides, and virgin. People don't understand the cottonwood tree virgin rituals. What you heard about that, Dice, when you went to Mali, where you would plant it was practiced among the Capelli tribes and the Lorma tribes, right, in the interior, where you plant take a 13-year-old virgin, put them under plant a seed on them, right, and bury her alive for good omen. That practice was just ended in 2003. That was still being practiced in parts of the interior. So you had a culture clash. You had a culture clash, right? There's practices that the people that returned didn't agree with. Now the people say, well, why did this? No, you can't do that. When it comes down to it, the people that's more progressive and their culture is the one that's going to prevail. History has taught us that. You can, whatever nobility you think your culture is and everything, but if it can't pass the test of education, science, and how civilizations judge, is when you look at animals, right? If an animal is broken, his leg is broken, he's good as dead. And human beings, civilized human beings injured, right? There's going to be a system there that's going to take care of them. That's whether the person lives in mud huts or they live in brick houses and mansions, right? You're only judged by the least among you. And that's the definition of building a civilization. We're civilized, we're civil, we take care of each other. And Liberia, right, to me, was probably one of the most advanced civilizations the world's ever seen. How they was able to get warring tribes to make peace with each other and live in the same city and eat with each other. Liberia was rated the least tribal place on the continent at the time. But that's not talked about. You had people, Grebos on one end and Vi on one end, for hundreds that never knew each other. When the cities on the coast were built, these people were free to travel and meet each other. Okay, I'm from here, I'm from here. They learned about each other. It was the American Liberians who brought these people together. And the Liberian culture is a part of, it was a mixture of Creole, Gullah Geechee, and Caribbean, and all these things fused with African cultures and everything, which is called a colloquy, a unique language and way of talking that's unique to Liberia. And so, therefore, when people start this, they oppress the native, they're no different than the people who talk this stupid ADOS stuff, This ADOS stuff, that how we're so different from the Caribbean, stuff like that. Black people, when you have a culture where you understand that you're the reason why the country's founded, even a lot of native Liberians understand. And I was shocked when I created the group, the Association of African Americans of Liberia. Look it up on YouTube. The Association of African Americans. I had that group for 10 years now. I'm well versed in Liberia's culture and history. And people will tell me, yeah, Liberia, the most indigenous people will say, this is a black republic. No white people could be a republic. Even the indigenous people agreed that was a good idea. And Liberia is probably the most race conscious group of people in West Africa. So where did that come from? It came from the people who founded the country. It came from America. That said, this must be preserved as a black republic. And to this day, Article 27 of the Constitution still stands. There are Lebanese and everybody else who are punishing Liberia. The reason why Liberia is suffering now is because if Liberia would come out and say, oh, yeah, we want all this fuck shit from America, we want to repeal Article 27 of the Constitution. Article 27 of the Constitution of Liberia is the only country in Africa in the world that basically says that only people of black African descent, Negro descent, could be own land and be a citizen of the republic. Think about that. The only country in Africa. Why is that? There are people all the time, particularly white Americans, Europeans, Lebanese, Chinese, and everything, who are trying to pressure Liberia into changing that. And despite how poor Liberia is, they won't do it. Why? Because they're saying, well, if we let these people, I think somebody said this guy is very divisive, you know. And the bottom line is, hey, you think I'm very divisive? I'm just telling it like it is, you know. Yeah, the Barclays were elite. Well, not really elite. What do you mean by elite? That's another thing when people talk about an elite family. If you got an island where everybody's suffering and starving, right? Somebody with $5 in his pocket becomes the elite. You have $5 in your pocket and whatnot, you're the elite. Man, stop miss me with that elite stuff when you talk about black people. Liberia is not very American identified. And so basically, this is what I'm talking about. And I sat here for an hour almost talking about the good aspects of Liberia, building upon the good aspects of the history and everything. And all people keep talking about is a negativity. Why? Because they don't want this idea that we are capable of building a nation, and a black nation at that. Let's think about something, Dynasty. All the countries in the most of the world, the Middle East and Africa, Central America, you know how they got started? Literally over scotch and a map.
Mm-hmm.
They had Nigeria is like is dominated by 4 or 5 kingdoms with their own structure and everything that extend some into what modern Benin is, extend into Cameroon, Chad, everything, right? But it did not matter to the British and the French. They literally over dinner and drinks, over wine and steak, right? Pulled out a napkin, pulled out a map, and said, "Here, that's yours. This yours. Everything." Same thing with Iraq. Iraq is an artificial created country. They put the Shiites, the Sunnis, and the Kurds together, knowing that these groups were never going to get along. They drew countries on the map. And the problem in Africa right now is you have countries that don't make any sense. And we say, okay, no one ever questions the fact that you have countries like Botswana, who was basically Buchanan a protector of the British. Namibia, still to this day, the Namibians don't own their own land. Whites are firmly in South Africa, right? You are not going to get rid of whites. Everybody knows it. Everybody's too scared. Like that, whites are there forever. White people are there to stay. No, they basically the millions of people that were killed in the Congo, right, by King Leopold, right? He didn't build anything. He cut off their hands, cut off their arms, and all stuff like that, right? There was 1 million Maasai died in the Mau Mau uprisings, against the British. All that's forgotten in history. The only thing people want to talk about is the fact that these descendants of slaves, African Americans and Caribbeans and everything, founded a republic. And the world is against them. And they got fools in these chat rooms to, Liberia this, Liberia this. These people never will ever talk about the British. They'll never talk about the Belgium. They'll never talk about what the French are still doing to this day in Africa. They'll never talk about that. It doesn't bother them that the Lebanese are dominating all the logistics in West Africa and everything. But all we want to do is talk about what other black people are doing to us, what they did to us. And that's the mentality. That's the mentality. That's why I basically, when I wrote my novel and everything, I wanted people to wanted to know this history. When am I going to Liberia? In January? I'll be there in January. I will be there in January. That's going to shut a lot of these people up. I'll probably stay for a whole month. I'll be sending video clips and pictures. Hey, Dinus, play this. I'm in freaking Monrovia. So the bottom line, that's what it is. And so, bottom line, why do I go so hard with Liberia? Because I understand the people that basically every time when you talk about black people in America who want to go to the continent and everything, they live in fear. They keep saying, I hope I don't want to do another Liberia. Like, nigga, you had the capability of repressing somebody? You have the capability of, I don't want, nigga, what the hell are you going to do to a modern Ghana? What the hell are you going to do to a big, powerful nation, a country like Nigeria? Get over yourself. Like, you going to go over there and segregate the Nigerians. I don't want to go over there and segregate Nigerians like my ancestors in Liberia. That's a real ego boost, you know. You really believe that you did all this to indigenous Liberia when you're only 5% of the population? You really believe that? Yeah, is that what happened? No, it's not what happened. In fact, as I've studied, it seemed like the indigenous people had the power all along. If you look at the when Liberia was being formed, the government of Liberia, to gain credibility, they need to win. They had to win over the indigenous people, not by force, but by showing them another way. Hey, look, and a lot of times there was disputes, right, over land between the settlers, the returnees, and the indigenous, right? The government always sided with the indigenous people. Why? Because it gave the indigenous people the idea, it was a genius, that the government is fair and impartial. Do people even realize that? That's a psychological game. And then you would put indigenous people in power, give them jobs, money. And matter of fact, the paramount chiefs that control the interior, they were on the government payroll the whole time. And also the indigenous people made up the army and the police. So why would they join? They were being oppressed. Why would they join the army and the police? It doesn't even freaking make any sense. You know? And so people like this, you know? So people like this, they don't know anything. They basically want to talk, you know? What helped kick up the civil war in Liberia? Righteous, oh Lord, man. You know, Lord, you know, you know, yeah. Somebody said African American were blamed. Of course, you know, no one wants to talk about the British. The whole time the British were trying to colonize Liberia, encroach on its land. The French took like the land from Cape Palmas to San Pedro River, just took it over. You know, in 1892, Charles Taylor made a petition to get that land back. That was Liberian territory. The French just took it. The French took a lot of the Guinea Highlands. You know, that was Liberian territory. They took it. And so basically, no one ever talks about that history. Oh yeah, the back. It's all this so-called African American bashing. You know, that's all it is. You know, and so therefore, we're going to keep saying this. We're going to keep repeating this. Why? Because we're changing the narrative. And so why we're doing this? Why? Because the idea of returning to Africa and building in Africa is not new. This didn't happen since YouTube. This has been going on, Diane, how much longer? Like 200 years now?
Right. In fact, everybody, I want to go to announce this right now. 2022, I think 2022 was the official year. Oh, I think it was when, was it 1820 or 1822 when?
Okay, it was 18. God, man, me, God, 1822. 1822 when the Elizabeth landed in Sherwood Bay in Sierra Leone.
Providence Island.
No, they landed Sherwood Bay in Sierra Leone. They weren't allowed into Freetown, right? The British said no, whatsoever. You had educated black people and whatnot. They said there's no way you're gonna land. You know, they knew they would took over Sierra Leone. So they spent 2 years, well, actually 1820, that's what it was. 1820, right? They departed from New York, right? Elizabeth. They and also in 1822, I believe. Wait a minute. Yeah, 2 years. They spent 2 years on that island shore, dying of disease and everything, poor water and everything. Finally, Admiral Stockton and all them negotiated a strip of territory on the coast of Liberia, where is Macerado Bay, you know, and Providence Island. They were allowed to go there until they negotiate. They went to Providence Island until they were able to negotiate a strip of 40-mile territory along the coast. That's when they got sanctuary because they had land. Once they set up shop, they built roads, they built stores, and they had little farms. Everything. They said, "Man, this is home," right? Then some of the indigenous said, "Look, man, if they keep coming here, they're gonna master the area and take over." You know, so what they did was they brought their stuff back, saying, "No, you can't have the land. You know, you can't have land." They said, "No, we're gonna stay. We're gonna live in peace as neighbors and everything." And then what happened was, while they were negotiating, the indigenous tribe, the Day tribe, launched an offensive against them, and they beat the Days, and that's what basically what Liberia was born. You know, they said okay, and several other attacks and everything, and they kept prevailing and winning, and so therefore, even while they were winning and everything, How they were winning? Because a lot of the people from the indigenous people kept coming to the settler side. We want to be with y'all. You know, that's how they won. They won because the people like, yo, they're black people too, so they should be able to live here in peace. And that's how they won. You know, and so therefore, why this story is so important? You know,
One second. Somebody, JC says, how come no African Americans are doing tours to Liberia? I want to announce that, guys. 1822, we're doing a 200-year anniversary return.
Put on record
1822, like we're doing 1822, we're doing it. So just to let you guys know, 1822 is going down. Year return, 20-year return to Liberia, 1822.
That's gonna be big, and I will be there. I will be with Brother Dynast. God spare my life and everything. Everything's going good. I will be there.
Mm-hmm.
I will be on that tour. I'll be the biggest mouth on that tour. You know.
Yeah. So 1822, everybody, we're doing a tour to Liberia. It's going down. So
I'm saying we're gonna rise up, man. You know, big. That's gonna be big. You know, that's probably gonna be the biggest tour. Everything. That's gonna be a celebration. 200 years since the Elizabeth sailed. You know. And we're going to be on Providence Island. We're going to talk about the history. Why? Because it's going to kick off another movement to the continent. Some people might go to Angola. Some people might go to Namibia. People might go to Congo and everything. But this idea, I'm sick of this African-American superiority complex. I'm tired of this. What superiority complex? What superiority complex? And so the bottom line is, like I said, man, it's like this. I want to know if this Shurgri Dwala is this person and brother or sister, man, 2020, 1820, 2000. I don't think Diane said 1820, 2020, 1822 is when when Elizabeth landed.
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry. 2022. My bad. 2022. We're doing a 200-year anniversary Liberia. It's so you guys go ahead and get ready, get your money right. So if you guys want to come, 2022. In fact, it's going to be January 1st is when they landed. So we'll probably leave a couple of days after Christmas. January 1st. Excuse me. And then leave like January 3rd. So. Just be ready to spend your New Year's in Liberia. Let me get some water real quick.
Yeah. So basically, it's like this, So basically, folks, is understanding who the major players was in Liberian history. You got King Boatwain. People don't realize who he was, right? He was the one who helped the settlers. He became friends with African American 1814 war vet from Chester, Pennsylvania, Elijah Johnson. And he became friends with him. He said, look, even though he was a slave trader, they opposed the slave trade, he told the Days, I'll cut all your heads off if you bother them, right? And he let them, he said he gave them safe passage and on the coast. He was a powerful warrior king on the coast, So this idea that the indigenous people were just helpless people and everything is a lie. And so therefore, the reason why we don't know this is because nobody's ever written a book or movies. It's not our imagination. I know black people don't like to read. That's a problem right there. We don't like to read. So the only way you can reach black people really is through entertainment, and videos and stuff like that, because we don't like to read books. We don't like to read complex books and long paragraphs and stuff like that. So I know that. That's a sad part about our history, Audrey, do you got anything better to do but bother me? What did Matilda Newport, from what I hear, according to legend, Matilda Newport was a settler lady. I think she was 35, and she when there's two stories in the Battle of Crown Hill on Snapper Hill. She stood at the fort and basically the approaching natives. She fired a cannon with a pipe. She saw a pipe sitting there. She lit the cannon, and natives scattered off. That is not what happened. What happened was the natives came down. And because the settlers were on Snapper Hill, they had the higher ground. They saw them approaching, and what they did was that area where Benson Street is. There was houses lined up there. And what they did was they left the houses full with ornaments, food, cooking, and everything. And when the 800 day warriors came down, instead of completing their charge, they began looting the place. And that's when the settlers, army, militia came in and roused them and killed them and stopped and started war. It wasn't Matilda Newport. From what I hear, that's a myth. That didn't. She'd existed, but that's not what happened in history. There's some conflicting stories about Matilda Newport. I tend to leave that alone because it's divisive. It's divisive. A lot of Native Liberians are angry about that. She feels humiliated by a woman and stuff. So I leave that alone. I don't celebrate Matilda Newport or anything like that. What I like to celebrate is the good things that happened in that beautiful country. That country, if you look at Liberia from the films of the 1950s and stuff like that, that was like heaven on earth.
Right.
That was like heaven on earth. It looked like the Caribbean, and it was like you had a modern city, and you go to the country. You had country farms that looked like the rural North Carolina, South Carolina, and then right adjacent to that, you had pure African villages where you would see dances, the guillos. I went to the Liberian embassy back in 2012 for the Independence Day. I had a friggin' blast. They had the guillo and the mono drummers and the Hartman, the Bush Devil Hartman there. They had the drummers. The pulsating thing. I don't know how Nigerian drummers are, Dynas, but I never seen drums like this in my life. The drum beat, those African drums of the guillos, it was so powerful. You could hear the pulsating, and everybody was dancing and partying. And Liberians love to party, And when I was just sitting there, I was just chilling. I had such a freaking good time, man. And I tell you what, I love those people, I love those people. Liberians are my favorite Africans, And so basically, I tell people all the time, man, I said something good. Don't tell me this beautiful culture, is something bad. And all people want to do is throw bad. If you can accept America, well, after all the shit we've been through, I don't get this. You got black people in South Africa, like, oh, let bygones be bygones. They don't want. I noticed this. I remember I read an Essence magazine back in 1994, right? It was right a couple months after Nelson Mandela got elected, right? There was euphoria, and then this white reporter went to black reporter went to South Africa, right? And she was trying to get information about what they think about post-apartheid. Nobody wanted to talk about it. Nobody wanted to talk about it. What about the Sharpeville? Let's move on. Let's move on. We got a future. All over South Africa, black and white alike was like, it was like nobody wanted to talk about apartheid. Everybody was just looking toward the future and then multiracial democracy. Why doesn't that happen in Liberia? Why doesn't that happen in Nigeria? Why doesn't that happen? Why is it when it comes to white people, you're ready to move on, right? But yet you got people here talking about the Civil War in Liberia and stuff like that. You'll never hear people. You got Kenya. You got people in Kenya, white people in Kenya, who still own farming. I didn't even notice until recently. Still own large farming estates, tea estates, and everything. But everything's let's move on. Let's move on. Let's not talk about it. You want to read that super chat, brother?
Yeah, Matri Okoma, self-hatred. Some Nigerians in South Africa do crimes, but most are good. It's xenophobia. There it goes. It's xenophobia. You just answered it.
Yeah, that's the riddle.
It's xenophobia. But if it were, they would oppose all foreigners. In the U.S., ADOS say Africans and Afro-Caribbeans are the problem.
This is one. I don't want to consider ADOS, and I hate that term. Right? I hate that term. To me, you're black. Even though I'll sit there and be like this, bottom line, I know a lot of our African brothers are hurting in America and everything. I know that, right? And me as being responsible, and whatnot. I am not going to be the one that make my African brothers and Caribbean brothers' life harder. You know, to me, you're welcome here. You're my brothers and sisters, and that's the way I see it. In the BAO group that I run, right? Africans, we have just as many Africans and Caribbeans in there and everything. If you're black, I can help you. You know, that's the way I see it. You know, because I know ultimately all this tribalism stuff is going to fail. It's going to fail. It's going to flop. It's going to fall down and everything. We need to get it. But I'm really excited about this 2022. I'm glad you're doing it, Dynasty, man. You know?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's going down. So, guys, the dates, tentatively, the dates will be, we'll leave here probably December. There's 31 days in December, right?
Yeah, 31 days.
Yeah, so we'll probably leave. We'll probably leave here on the 27th or 28th.
That sounds good. Right after
Yeah,
Christmas.
then we'll leave Liberia on the 3rd.
Yeah,
come back. So something like that.
I'm staying. I'm staying. I got several places over there I could stay, people I could stay with and stuff like that. So I'll be over there a little longer, man. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
we're gonna do it. We got to really plan that, man. I want to do a historical thing. I want to talk about my novel and stuff like that. Where the Azores, people.
Oh,
Matter of
pick
fact,
it up, everybody. Guys, make sure you go cop his novel. Very
Journey-
good book. Yeah,
Journey-
very good book, everybody. Make sure you go cop that.
If like I said, we're in COVID right now. Get that novel. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. You'll be put up in the time and everything. I had our good friend Kofi Newton last night telling me, Colin, man, I just love your novel and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, he did a lot of drawings from his head on my novel. He said, I said, man, I wrote the stuff. He said, so he did a lot of drawings and illustrations based on what that novel really takes you over. It feels like you really are living in Liberia in 1878. You know, I took very into detail of Liberian society in Monrovia and also the society they were coming from in Charleston, South Carolina. You know, and so therefore the whole idea of Liberia is the history of Liberia is to connect that part. Our history does not begin and end in America. People don't know that there's African Americans who first settled in Dominican Republic. You know, people don't know that. People don't know there's. Do you know there was an enclave in Mexico called Little Liberia? Do anybody know that? It was created in. This is what happened, folks. Liberia fever. Let's talk about Liberia fever. There's a Liberia and Monrovia in North Virginia. There's several streets named Bassa Cove, Robert City. That's Jacob Roberts and everything. In Petersburg, there are places named after Liberians stuff. You know, Sino Street and stuff like that in Norfolk and everything. There's also a town in Connecticut called Liberia. Also in 1920, there was a city called Little Liberia, built in Mexico from black people from Los Angeles. People don't know that history. They were sold land by some Mexicans, right? And they built settlement. Black people settled and built a thriving community. And what happened was the U.S. government put pressure on the Mexican government to tear it down. It was a thriving city because a lot of people that were in California, Chicago, and everything, they wanted to get to Liberia, but because we had wars, German U-boats and everything, it was almost impossible to cross the Atlantic safely, you know, at the time. Think about that. More black people would have went to Liberia had it not been for World War I, World War II. And then after World War II, there was a large numbers of black people who went to Liberia. And then as these other countries started getting independence and everything, Liberia fever extended into the Congo. You know how many African Americans went to Congo in the 70s, you know? You know how many African Americans? Did you say your father went to Festac in 77, Nigeria?
The Festac, he was in Liberia. My dad was all over West Africa in the
80s. Liberia, I mean Nigeria. The African Americans living on the continent, all over the continent, stuff like that, you know? So this idea of these people now on YouTube thinking this is something new, it's not new. You know, it's a Liberia fever, you know? And so it's anyway. Also, we got a guest. Let's see.
No, we got a guest. All right. So this will be the only guest tonight. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. African.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We hear you now. Go ahead.
I'm just listening in. Yeah, I just wanted to know that African Americans, do they get any special treatment in Liberia? Like, can you buy properties and stuff like that?
I'll answer that. Now it depends on who you talk to. Now, right now, let me say something, man. There's a huge issue as far as land is concerned in Liberia. Let me say it like this. Let me explain it like that, and I don't want to offend nobody, right? There's an old thinking among a lot of our indigenous brothers and sisters in Liberia that the American Liberians had the best land, you know, and their land was rich. But what the indigenous people didn't know, their land was modernized. It was deeded, land deed. The indigenous people had most of the land in the country, but their land wasn't developed. And there's a lot of indigenous people who were moving because of the war. A lot of American Liberians fled, right? And they moving into areas where American traditionally live, and they're squatting on land, even digging up graves, squatting on land, everything. And there's huge battles. Remember, girl Erica? I don't think you met her, Erica. What's her name? She had a white American from an NGO that was accused of sex trafficking. Right? Had her family's house, right? Nice mansion, using that, right? And with it, so the land laws and stuff like that are really screwed up. In 1974, it was always assumed that if you're black, not just African American, if you were black, you could become an automatic citizen of Liberia. That changed when the new government took over and the indigenous people took over. Tribalism set in.
Hey, Colin, was it either Latoya Jackson or Janet? One of the Jacksons, they had Liberian citizenship.
Right. And also Bill Russell. Bill Russell. People don't know that. Bill Russell. Bill Russell did. He has a farm in Liberia, a rubber farm in Liberia. John Amos from Good Times. He was there. People tell me, yeah, I used to see John Amos back in the 70s. He used to be here, And so therefore, African American, Nina Simone was there. There was a lot of African Americans who owned farm. It was like a second, Sidney Poitier, Ozzie Davis, and large numbers of African Americans who went to Liberia and owned property and stuff like that. It was like a second home. It was like a second home. Now, as far as like 2020, what I'm seeing here now is this. Liberians is not against African Americans, right? It's Liberians now are fearful of the Liberians who live in America. The Liberians in America are dominating Liberia just by social media. You got people with Facebook groups, right, who got enough, like Darius Dillon. This guy from right here didn't graduate from 6th grade, but he's a senator in Liberia now because he had a Facebook following. So Liberians are basically against dual citizenship, right? And it's to keep those Liberians who they call troublemakers out. So the Liberians that were born in Liberia that went to America for whatever reason, right, are getting the American-Liberian treatment. Oh, you're not Liberian no more. Why? It's all, let me tell you something, brother. It's all rooted in poverty.
Okay, so you are going to be treated just like any other, like say someone from Germany, or like you're not gonna.
Not that extreme, but it's the bottom line is this, but rightfully so. If I'm sitting there suffering through a war, right? Let me put myself in the indigenous people, poor people's part in Liberia. I'm sitting there getting my ass handed to me, right? War and uncertainty and everything. It's now we held the peace and everything, and people coming off the plane talking about where my land at, where my land at, and running for office. How would you feel? Of course, you're gonna feel some sort of way. I don't blame them. And then African Americans, right? Who are you? So the bottom line is, until the indigenous people are taken care of, it's always gonna be like that. If you want to go over to the continent, bring something over there, include the indigenous people in what you're doing, what you're building, and when they see the value in what you're doing, they'll be more excited. African Americans.
So Kala, right? So listen, Kala. As the way things are right now, do you see any value for African Americans to move there?
Absolutely.
Well, why do people have to move? Why can't you invest? Go there, buy a home. You could buy a home. You could buy a piece of property in Cape Mountain. Cape Mountain's wide open. You could buy a beachfront property. Robert Johnson did. He built a hotel. You can invest in everything. Let me ask anybody this question. What is the idea that you have to have citizenship and you gotta do this? What's that? Why can't you just be an American, go over there and contribute, right? Contribute more than what you try to ask for. When you ask for citizenship, you know what you're asking for? You're asking for to hold office. You're asking to be equal to people who've been suffering the same thing. I don't think it's my right to ask for a citizenship in Liberia. That's me personally. It's not my right. I could say, look, I got some money. Can I invest in the land, which I plan to do and stuff like that? I will like that. I didn't come here on vacation. I like to do all these things and everything, you know. But I'm not gonna ever ask them for the citizenship because it's not my right, you know.
Yeah. So why should it be Liberia then? Like, why don't you invest somewhere else?
Well, check this out. Things happen. I understand that because of misinterpretation of history, all the thing I want to do is make sure that the people who really hate African Americans don't prevail. Because if you keep pressing, they will. All I want to do is all the monuments, all the streets, and all the stuff like that that my ancestors built when they're there, and the heritage is respected and preserved. If we could do that, that's a victory. That means African Americans.
So wait a minute, like, so the capital city, Monrovia, you are for it to stay that way? I mean, don't you think that's a little?
Why not? Well, let me ask you a question. Should Nigeria change its name? You know what Nigeria really means? You know, the nigger area. Should Nigeria change their name? Lord Richard Lugar named it nigger area. Really, literally.
Is that what it means? I did not know, but I thought it was like a name of a river.
No, nigger area.
Are you sure about that? Because if you're not, it can be offensive.
They had so much concern. Even though
Wakala, technically they said it was named after the Niger River.
Yeah, nigger. Well, Niger mean nigger.
That's what they say.
Yeah, nigger, Niger. And but most British who went there, remember something. The people that they sent to Nigeria and these places were coming from the bottom.
But yeah, Kala, I don't think it's a fair comparison still, because I mean having
hold on. Why is that not a fair comparison? Right?
Let me ask you,
capital city.
Let me ask you. Hold
on, because this try to understand. When it comes to Liberia, everybody's drop the mic moment is, oh, it's named Monrovia after James Monroe, you know, after President Monroe. But I'll say this: I am for the capital city, the name Monrovia being changed. If we get rid of all the Christian churches, all the Catholic churches. You know, because this is another argument. Well, we need to change the name from Monrovia to whatever. But all the churches, these evil Americans, they brought this religion with them. But for some reason, the religion is fine. But we got to change the name of the church. We got to change the name of the city.
Liberia has a lot of by names. If you look at the land of Liberia, most of the towns are named indigenously. In fact, Tolbert. The whole thing about Liberia was Monrovia was an outpost, right? It's the center of all the power, right? What the plan was in the future was to move the capital to the interior, like Zepica or Gabanga, you know, and they wanted to build the capital in the interior. So let Monrovia be this old place. We understand history, but create in a new capital territory like Nigeria did with Abuja. You know, Lagos just means land of lakes. It's a Portuguese term. Should we change Lagos' name? That means lakes in Portugal. There's a Lagos, Portugal. You know that?
Oh, why not? I mean, it could be changed. I mean,
hold on. Obviously, you're Nigerian, right?
Huh?
You're Nigerian, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
What are you?
Ethiopian.
Oh, Ethiopia. Oh, okay. You know, Ethiopia's real name is Abyssinia. Ethiopia is a European land name.
No, it's not.
Abyssinia is Ethiopia's real name.
Nope, it's not.
Most of the people in Ethiopia have different nations and whatnot, and Ethiopia is mostly just like Japan. Japan's not Japan's real name. Japan's real name is Nippon.
Okay, can I explain if you don't mind?
Okay, good.
I think like having a textbook knowledge of Africa, I think you're looking at the continent from the outside, right? So having somebody with first-hand knowledge explain things for you sometimes is helpful. So it could be interpreted in a different way when you are trying to tell the local people their history. Some find it offensive. I don't personally find it offensive.
Brother Africa, can you get to the why is Kala right?
Because he got a range of things wrong on that history analysis. 2 minutes.
Oh, what? Give me.
No. Okay, but hold on, Kala. So, but again, what was the original name of Ethiopia?
Ethiopia has always been Ethiopia. The name he mentioned.
Ethiopia's name is
Can
Greek.
you not interrupt so I can finish my thoughts?
Good.
Ethiopia is an empire. It's the name of the whole empire. Abyssinia is just a description of the Habasha. I mean, the northern Ethiopia was occupied by Habasha people, so that's why it's called Abyssinia. But Ethiopia has always been Ethiopia.
So where does Abyssinia come from then?
It is a name of the people.
You just got to telling us that Ethiopia is the name of a thing, and some people call themselves Abyssinian. So what are you talking about? And you got separatist movements in Ethiopia who don't call themselves.
So now you're jumping from topic to topic. Let's focus on
but you made it up. You said that Ethiopia is the name of an empire, and there's a lot of people in Ethiopia who don't go by along with that. So what is it?
Do you know what it means to be an empire, right? Do you have like a basic understanding of what an empire is?
An empire is not a republic. I know that. Is an empire is a republic. Liberia was a republic. Ethiopia wasn't a republic.
So as an empire, Ethiopia, right? It lived on both sides of the Red Sea. It contracted and expanded throughout time. It lived for more than 2,000 years, right?
So what is Eritrea?
Eritrea used to be part of Ethiopia. Even the Arabian Peninsula used to be Ethiopia, right?
They fought a long civil war to succeed from Ethiopia. So you telling me the Eritrea is really Ethiopia? Maybe nobody.
Not only Eritrea, the Arabian Peninsula used to be Ethiopia. It was colonized by Ethiopia, right?
You're off the day.
So if you don't have this knowledge or history, you're just making things up.
Hold on. Let me ask you. So what's and please help me out. So what's Sheba and what's Kush?
Kush is like in Ethiopia, right? They're Semitic people, they're Cushitic people, they're Nilot people, and they're Omotic people. So the Cushitic people are like the Oromos.
Ethiopia is a.
Kyle, let him finish. Kyle, let him finish, please. Go ahead.
So he is literally trying to tell me my history. I mean, it's kind of funny.
Okay, but again, what is Kush and what is Sheba?
Sheba is a name of a queen, an Ethiopian queen, actually. Kush is like a phenotype.
No, hold on. I gotta stop you right there. You're wrong. Her name was Makeda.
No. The Queen of Shiva was Makeda. So it's the same. It's one and the same person.
No, you said Sheba was the name of the queen. Her name was Makeda.
You don't think I know that as an Ethiopian? Really? Like, I mean, that's her Ethiopian name, Makeda, and you think like you're telling me something I don't know?
You just said that her name wasn't Makeda. You said her name.
People know her. Like, look, this is pretty much basic information that we're arguing about. We shouldn't spend time on that. If you are genuinely curious about Ethiopian history, I can tell you.
Okay, so what's Sheba?
The Queen of Shiva or Saba or Makeda, right? She's an Ethiopian queen that had a son, Minilik I, that started the Ethiopian Empire.
Right, started the Ethiopian Empire. So at one time it was called Sheba. Am I right or wrong?
The Queen of Shiva is the queen who had a son with King Solomon of the Bible.
Right. So Sheba at one time was Ethiopia or no?
No. It's not a description of a place. It's a description of there is a population like around the Red Sea called the Sabians, right? Those people lived around in Yemen and Saudi Arabia, the Sabians, right? But Sheba is a queen. And when people talk about the Queen of Sheba, they're talking about her, Makeda. You mentioned it, right? So I don't know why that is relevant or why we're talking about her, but like if you are curious
about the Rastafari's, they say, how is Selassie, you know?
Yeah, because I'm not a Rastafarian or anything.
What?
I'm not a Rastafarian.
Oh, this is yourself, but they claim you, bro. They said Rastafari.
Well, at least they had a black prophet and they're pro-black.
Ethiopia is a Greek term, right? You know that, right?
Yes.
All right, hold up. Let's stop right there. Yeah. Stop right there. Yeah. We made some progress here, right?
Yeah. I'm very I want to be honest with you. There's nothing to hide here, so don't worry.
Ethiopia is a Greek word. They said your black faces, burnt faces, right?
Yes, it describes us well. We're black. We're proud of it. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, why is it that y'all beating up on poor little Liberia because James Monroe helped that little republic out. They were so grateful to get the hell out of America. They named their capital after Monroe, James Monroe. You want
Okay,
to
can I answer?
that.
Okay, can I answer?
What did Greece do? What
Okay,
did Greece do for you? Hold on. What did Greece do for you? What did Greece do for Ethiopia?
Okay, without you interrupting,
No,
can I answer you?
what did Greece do for Ethiopia? Why you hang on to their name?
Can I answer? That I'm asking you, can I answer without you interrupting?
Shut up.
Because it's just three of us. I don't want to, shout out to you or anything. So I just want to answer, explain, right? So when people, they describe this as burnt face or black face, we're very proud of being black. We have no problem with it. I myself personally, I'm pro-black. So when they looked at us, their like history is full of Ethiopians. They worshipped us almost. The Greeks were obsessed with us. So if you look at the Greek mythology, they have all kind of stories about us. So they knew us as burnt face because our color was different from them. So we accepted it. We're fine with it. In your case,
so Liberian can't be.
hold on. Let me finish. In your case, you went to Africa and named your capital city after a slave master.
Hold on. See, that's disingenuous, bro. That's
No, it's not. I mean, it's just as.
Oh, that is friggin'.
So you cannot even compare these two things, but you can find another one.
So African, this is my question. So what you're saying is that when the Greeks were, I guess, what's the one to use? They had love for the black people.
Yeah, Memnon. You have your Memnon. You can. It's not only love; it's just almost worship.
We was up there actors chilling, man, with the Greek chicks.
Okay, are you familiar with Greek mythology, my brother?
No, okay, but
are you familiar with Greek mythology?
But Ethiopia is a Greek name, and you guys
are you familiar with the Greek mythology?
But again, Ethiopia is a Greek name, and you're trying to see. You're playing. I mean, we're playing semantics here as far as you're basically calling the Jericho sellouts for calling the name of the capital Monrovia after J. Monroe, but you're crazy.
The name Ethiopia is like mentioned in the Bible more than 40 times. You know that, right?
So what, man? So
what?
So it's not like literally like it's not out of curiosity that you're questioning this. It sounds like you're envious of some way, because I don't know. Any Black American would be envious.
There's a lot of African Americans who went to Ethiopia and helped while a lot of people were slaughtered. Our Air Force, the Red Tails, went over there and trained the Air Force of Ethiopia and stayed and helped build the first Ethiopian airline. Do you know that history? And also the
there was this. I know about a pilot.
Hold up.
I'm an honest guy. Like I said, there was a pilot.
You know why you don't know that history? Because you're.
I know. I'm telling you, I know that history. I was gonna tell you, I know.
The reason why you don't know that history because you're a typical.
Oh my God! Are you drunk?
Fake, hold up. You're a typical fake. This is why we do these shows to trap people like you and whatnot. We smoke all the time. Everybody got their little. I'm Ethiopian. I don't give a shit about Ethiopia. All I know is being black. Whatnot. I understand there's right and wrong in each group. Whatnot, and I take the beauty of Nigeria with the bad because I take it as all. What you want to do, throw us under the bus and whatnot, and make yourself feel like you're great. And we should say your name. You name yourself after what the Greeks called you. What about that? And also back.
I think this is a shouting match for you. I'm not sure if you're high or drunk.
No, but I understand where Kyle's coming
you're
from.
Just like you're not even letting me talk. You're just taking turns insulting people.
Right, but Ethiopia is a Greek name, and you're like.
You can read, right? I know you guys are from the hood or you're some ghetto. I mean, if you want to hide something from a black man, just read something. It's basic knowledge. Google it.
It's never ceases to amaze.
You can Google this is a basic information, but
I go to the library, bro.
If you want to hide something from a black man, just write it down. That's what your masters tell you because you can't read. You're dumb fuck.
I got a better one for you. If you want to hire from a black man, put in a book. I put $20 in a book.
Why don't you just read a book? And you're talking about writing a book. You're a really illiterate hood rat. That's what you are. You're a ghetto person from the hood who cannot read or write, who wants to go to Africa and colonize Liberia. Look at you. You can't even afford your ticket.
Danny, show him my book.
You can't even afford.
I'm gonna show him my book.
Hey, go grab Collins' book.
I'm an author, bro.
I don't think you can write a single sentence correctly. I guarantee you that.
I'm only an author.
You're probably a high school dropout, right? who's envious. Like
Like
if
I said,
somehow you hear that you had a chance, like in life
somebody's
about.
triggered, man. Somebody's triggered, man. We got you.
I
We
didn't
got
even get up here like to have this insulting thing with you, but like you're not even ready to have a civilized conversation.
Well,
Really,
we asked you one question. Did the Greeks
you were just like,
name you? Did
you're
the
the
Greeks
typical ghetto behavior, man. You're not civilized at all. And you wonder about why you're being like hunted down and killed on the street because you
I
have
never
no
said
honor, really.
I never said that, man. And I'm not gonna go back and forth and insult Ethiopians.
Do you sag your pants and say, yo, my nigga? Is that what you're good for?
See, this is what guy, man. You just so
And that one is giggling like he's your girlfriend or something. I don't even understand what's so funny about this whole thing. But we can have this discussion. We can still talk and have a civilized discussion. But don't try to be a ghetto gangster, okay? Just have a civilized conversation. It's not all about you. We can exchange ideas. And don't act stupid. I know you're stupid. You cannot help it. I'm losing IQ points by just talking to you. But
I
please have the patience to listen and learn.
Yeah, we asked a question, man. You didn't answer.
That's a question. So, yeah. So basically, Ethiopia is named by.
Why are you obsessed with Ethiopia, man?
You brought it up. You were talking about Ethiopia. You
So
brought it up.
I didn't call for me to talk to advertise my country. I called about to talk about what you guys were talking about, and somehow you're acting like a little kid.
The next thing. Go ahead. What else you got a problem with Liberia about? What else you got?
I don't have any problem with Liberia. I just asked you what the situation was, but then you got excited about when you heard about where I am from. You got excited and started insulting.
No, because South Africa said that to me one time, right? Where's your cabinet? Pretorius. You know, the Joker Pretorius was a pioneer. His name is still the capital, even though South Africa didn't rename a lot of the cities and stuff like that. But Durban's still what it is. Cape Town, that was the ultimate symbol of white power on the African continent. It's still called Cape Town. You know,
and you, as a descendant of a slave, have the nerve to laugh at Ethiopia. I mean, seriously, look at yourself in the mirror.
I'm not. I love Ethiopia.
I knew. That's what it was about. That's what it was about.
I mean, like you are like literally with no identity. Your identity is stolen from you. You were whipped into submission, and now you suffer identity crisis. And you are trying to reclaim yourself by going to Africa. And of all the people, you are the one to look down on people. You guys are jokes, you know that.
I spent the whole hour dying to talk about what? Don't look down on Africans. Don't do this, right? What did I say? What did it get me? Nothing. It got me nothing.
So what you're saying is basically
you are suffering from a huge identity crisis.
Okay. But identity crisis. But Ethiopia was named after white Greeks. But okay, identity crisis.
No. You're obsessed with religion. You're obsessed with anything white. We don't have that kind of like inferiority complex in Ethiopia. We don't, because we have never been through what you've been through, and I respect it. You know what I mean? You're suffering from identity crisis, low self-esteem.
All right, African, we appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
We appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you.
Bro.
All right.
Anybody else? Come on. I got people all week talk shit to me all week. I'm like, yo, come on the show, man. Come on. And they don't do it, man. I mean, what am I? Something scary or something? What, you think I'm gonna jump to the screen and beat you up or something? Yeah. God damn. I know they call me Carl Thanos, but God damn.
I mean, so basically, Carla, I guess the Greeks were benevolent to they call them burnt faces. So that was a sign of being benevolent, and they were so proud. I'm you know what? I need a East Afro dude. You're in the chat room. I saw you, East Afro dude. I know you. You know, I think East Afro dude's Eritrean.
The Eritreans don't want nothing to do with Haile Selassie and Ethiopia. They fought the civil war. Ethiopia had the most powerful army on the continent, and the Eritreans still defeated them. And so, but the bottom line is Ethiopia was called Abyssinia Baptist Church. You probably don't know that. A lot of Ethiopia had a strong connection to Black America. I don't know how that happened, but there was Ethiopians in Harlem at one time in the 1800s and whatnot.
But the thing is, he said it was always named Ethiopia, but the Greeks didn't call it Ethiopia until
they got several other kingdoms inside there. Ethiopia was called Ethiopia by the Europeans. They said that's a territory we call Ethiopia. Like I said, it's literally they drew a map, right? They said, okay, we don't own this. That's called Ethiopia. And Haile Selassie, they like that. Even though people say, I'm not Ethiopian, I'm an Abyssinian, I'm a Oromo, I'm Eritrean, Ethiopia was something that was imposed on the region by the Europeans. But he's bragging about that. No. Ethiopian Europeans named you, just like they created Pakistan, just like they created Iraq. These are artificially created countries by the West. As simple as that. Understand what the term geopolitics mean. You know, all these countries, nobody's in any room to criticize Liberia. Nobody. You know, South Africa, that's a European invention. You know, all these borders and everything. You know, even though Ethiopia was independent, right? It was basically devoid of things. Yes, Somalia. There's a lot of Somalians and Ethiopians are related, but they were separated by a border. You know, did his empire extend to Somaliland? No. You know, so bottom line is like, come on, everybody wants to come in here after they getting their ass kicked for 100 years and brag about what their little fiefdom is doing, you know, and say, let's build a continent. Everybody's talking, oh, my little shithole is better than your little shithole, you know. Everybody's it's a shithole Olympics, you know, the shithole Olympics. Who has a better shithole? Who's the people who's not getting their ass kicked the most? You know, yeah, you got your white man kick your ass this many times. Oh, the white man kicked. Well, we didn't get our ass kicked as yours, but we still got our ass kicked, but not as bad as you are. You know, it's a race to the friggin' bottom, man. You know, it's all friggin' stupidity, folks. You know. Shogun, shut up. You're a white guy, you know. Shogun G, you're a white guy, you know. But why is this guy so long? Because I'm here, you know. If you don't like it, get the hell off the platform, you know. I'll tell you, why is this guy still here? Why are you still here? I didn't ask you to log in, you know. I said get a passport and book a ticket. I got a passport, folks, right there, U.S. passport, brand new, you know.
All right, I just sent the link out to Homer. I think it is Homer. Hold on, brother. Horner. I just sent the link to you, so I'm waiting for you.
Carl, you are more white. No, bottom line, I'm black. Just because anybody talks with sense and common sense and balance, don't mean they're white. You know, shut the hell up about that. Carl, did someone take your cookies? Wow, didn't I tell you these topics do firestorm? You know, I can't believe what it is people go and they basically. I mean, my whole thing is this, man. As long as there's poverty and misery, man, we're gonna, like I said, my brothers and sisters, they're venting because they're in pain. I understand your pain. I feel it. You know, and you brothers and sisters in the chat room, I love you. You know, I love you, man. You said you gotta understand. I understand the pain. We're all going through a lot of pain, but you know how you get rid of your pain, folks? Get yourself a little thing called a library card. You know, they're free. You know, black people like free shit. You know, a library card is free. You can go to the library, right? Pull up books about history. Pull up books about geography. Take like 10 books, right, and get yourself in the corner. Read, take notes, and everything like that. Do that for about a year, and you will be a changed person. Your whole perspective. And another thing is read books and novels. You'd be surprised. Every time, I remember one time I was in a bookstore looking over books, right? The old books. It's like, as a matter of fact, a big thing is when you go to like a bookstore where they sell books for like $1. You ever been in one of the bookstores, Dynasty, where they sell old books for like $1 or 50 cents and everything? I go in there and stack up, right? And I start reading, right? Book, it could be any topic, right? It could be about World War I, World War II. Anytime I read, my knowledge, it goes up.
Horner, go ahead, Horner.
Hey guys, what's up? I just wanted to make it quick. That guy was embarrassing us East Africans. I'm not from Ethiopia. I'm from Somalia. But what he was saying was factually incorrect. Like you said, Ethiopia was a Greek name. The Abyssinia, actually, Abyssinia only refers to the northern part of what Ethiopia is today. So that refers to the Semitic groups, probably where he's from, the Habesha group. When he was referring to the Cushitics, Somalis are Cushitic. So we're the original inhabitants of East Africa in general. Like these guys, these Habeshas in general, they're mixed in with Semitic bloodlines. So they're not, they're from the Middle East in general. But you're right, as far as Ethiopia, it's a Greek name. Another thing too was I don't know why he was bringing up all this stuff about hood rat and all. When he lost the debate, he just went to insults. Like you guys weren't insulting him at all.
Always insult. When you insult, you lost.
Yeah, exactly. It's like as if it's like everybody in Africa, like he's acting like East Africa didn't have a bunch of slaves for a millennium, of which some of them were Ethiopians themselves who were taken all the way to India. I forgot the guy's name, but one of the famous amirs in India. I don't remember the name on top of my head, but like those slaves, like everywhere in Africa, those slaves, right? So his point of, oh, okay, well, you know, some parts were enslaved more than the other, it doesn't even make sense. But I just wanted to, like, the guy was just embarrassing overall.
Keep talking, brother. Keep talking, brother. I like your music to my ears, brother. You know, I like brothers like you. You know, you get the
Yeah, like for us, like to be honest, I don't even like Ethiopians to begin with. Well, I'm not gonna say in general, but guys like that who come with an attitude, like it's the same way they look at us Somalis. Like they look at us in the same manner. They look at us as their subject or something like that, as if they've accomplished anything. Like power per capita, any black group in the world. Like there's no African group that has produced more on the continent or anywhere else outside of the African Americans. Like par per par, any group. You compare the Nigerians, Ethiopians, it doesn't matter. African Americans have produced far more per capita to the black diaspora.
Yeah, you go look at the Black African American Almanac, right? It's like this thick, you know, worth of inventions, accomplishments, and everything. And also, like I was going to try to tell him, African Americans went over to Ethiopia and helped build their modern airlines. You know, people don't know that. You know, and so we participated. The peace movement was like African Americans lined up in Manhattan saying we want to go to war to drive Mussolini out of Ethiopia. You know, they don't know that these people. He's probably somebody that dates white girls. You got white chicks. I can tell the type, bro. I've been around. You know, I've been on this earth for a long time. You know, the bottom line, he's the type that dates white chicks. When I sits there and wants to and brag about how he's different than everybody else and whatnot. To me, any African suffering, I'm suffering. You know, I don't sit there. I'm African American and point my finger down on anybody else, man. Yo, when I see Africans suffering, that's me suffering. Those are my people. You know, I don't care where you're from. So lose me with that. People are gonna lose me with that. Oh, I'm better, you ghetto and all that stuff. The guy just lost. Man, you know, that's exactly the mentality. And that's the mentality we gotta expose. You know, they gotta expose. But I don't know why people hate African Americans so much and whatnot. But all it does is just get all this stuff does is get people like the ADOS people more ammunition. You know, the stupid FBA's ammunition.
But you know what, Brother Kala? These guys are a small minority. Just like there's a small minority of African Americans that hate on. We know it's not all African Americans that hate on the African diaspora. You know, coming from Africa. We know it's like a small minority, right? The same thing with these Africans. And at the end of the day, they don't shift the needle one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you guys come and do your thing in Africa, these guys don't shift the needle one way or the other. So, you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. But I just wanted to call you guys briefly. I was heading to a game right now. I have a soccer game, but I just wanted to call in and I was listening to you guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate you guys, Tyler Dynasty. Have a good night.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, bro. What we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out, Colin. Anything you'd like to share in closing?
Tomorrow night, my radio show, Colin Nation Radio on Gangsterville Radio. You can read it in the sticker on the show. 11 o'clock Eastern time, man. This is where you see the raw collagenesis, and we get down and whatnot. We have crazy topics and everything. What I do is I balance it out. I talk about music, popular culture, what's in the media, and I intertwine. Matter of fact, when I first got on Gangster Radio, they didn't think my format would work. My format would work, but now people are like, man, you made talking about Africa and black politics entertaining. My ratings are going through the roof. They're like, oh, we didn't know, because everything before I came on, I was the first real talk radio with political talk, right? Everybody would just sit there and talk about 50 cents and Nas, and they struggled to get through a whole hour segment, you know? I came in there, boom, 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 boom. They're like, wow, that's exciting, you know? That's exciting. Okay, by the way, same thing happened over in Ethiopia or Nigeria in 1975. You know, I talked about Fela Kuti. Yeah, Fela Kuti went there and this, that, and the other thing. Huma Sakela. I integrate African American history, culture, politics, along with entertainment and everything together. They didn't think that formula was going to work, and it worked. More people are now basically saying they want to talk about, they want to get into black politics, and also geopolitics. I include Africa in my discussions. Nobody else was talking about that, and people tell me, well, man, I learned so much about Africa since listening to your show. I know how to weave it back and forth, but check me out, Gangsterville Radio, Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Be here, there, or nowhere. We're going places. We're going places that show and stuff like that. And I appreciate Prince Dynasty Amir for having me on. I am going to be on that trip to Liberia. I will be there. I will be the biggest mouth with a bullhorn, and I will be there. I will be there.
Kyla, Kyla, hold on. I just envisioned you showing up to the airport with a bullhorn. Golly.
Oh, man.
I'll play with a bullhorn.
We're going to turn this shit out, man. We're going to reclaim our... this is history being made. African Americans returning to Liberia after 200 years to reclaim what the world told us we should forget. No other people. You go to any part of the world, if you got a settlement, everything, Europeans are there with the archaeologists, everything. They recreated. This is what civilization looked like. We don't do that. We let the Mali Empire disappear. There's tens of millions of books in Timbuktu and Djenné and everything. You think our scholars would get together and get grants to start putting these stories out there and everything? No. No one wants to know about Mali. No one knows about that. All we want to do is talk about commit, and we don't even want to do that. And so the bottom line is we have to start reclaiming if you don't reclaim your history, you're nobody. If you say, oh yeah, Mali Empire, this is what we're about, They even try to say the Lost Kingdom of Atlantis was actually in West Africa, I don't know about that, but look at the movie Aquaman, that was really accurate, The bottom line is this: you gotta start reclaiming your history. If you don't reclaim your history, you're nobody right now. You are more than a rap video. Your history didn't begin with the Democratic Party. Your history don't fluctuate every election cycle. You are more than a Democrat, You know what I'm saying? You're more than about Queen Mayat TV. I got to subscribe to you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why I can't, when I click on somebody, it doesn't let me go to their profile. I don't know what's going on. Do I got something blocked on here? I would like to subscribe to her. Thank you. Kyle's a wise man. Thank you. Thank you, sister. I got the haters in here who hate my guts and whatnot. They come on here just to give me high blood pressure every time I come on and whatnot, But, you're not hurting my feelings and whatnot. I just say what it is. History, learn your history, know who you are, learn your presence and whatnot. Why? Because you can't escape from who you are. One thing I do give about the brother African is he admits he's Ethiopian and everything. At least he's not calling himself a Mo indigenous Hebrew Israelite, And so, at least the Olmec and whatnot. I would love to have somebody debate me on the Olmec. I got a huge. I want these we were Olmec people, Olmec for black people to ever debate me. I got a friggin' ass whooping for you, and all these people, we're not African people. I will these people never come on the air. All they do is type in the chat room. They'll never come on the thing and debate. Why? Because I will have you will be like a meltdown worse than Chernobyl. It'll be a nuclear meltdown. Like I said, brother, man, he just lost it, man. He had a meltdown. When you start insulting, you lost, And like I said, I love doing that, That's what I do.
Right, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Again, Sierra Leone, April 21st to the 30th. Hit me up. Until next time, family, Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.
Yeah. Peace, brother.